When I found my first gray hair at 47, I panicked and plucked it immediately. 2 decades later, I'm proudly sporting a full head of silver and getting more compliments than ever before. After hundreds of comments asking for my silver secrets, today I'm finally sharing them with you. Remember when we all rushed to hide those first gray strands? The endless cycle of salon appointments every 3 to 4 weeks, spending $2,000 plus yearly, not to mention the chemicals seeping into our scalp. What if I told you that embracing your natural gray could be the most liberating beauty decision you'll ever make? In the next 15 minutes, I'll share 5 game-changing tips that transformed my relationship with my gray hair. From dreading it to absolutely loving it. Because gray hair isn't about aging, it's about wisdom, confidence, and authenticity. If you're ready to fall in love with your natural silver, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop your city in the comments. I'd love to know where my silver sisters are watching from. Now, let's start by understanding what's actually happening when our hair turns gray and why it's not something to fear. Let's talk about what's actually happening when our hair turns gray. It's fascinating science, really. Inside each hair follicle, we have cells that produce melanin. That's the pigment that gives our hair its color. As we mature, these cells gradually produce less melanin. It's a natural process that happens to everyone, just at different ages and rates. My sister Martha started graying in her 30s, while I didn't see significant gray until my 50s. That's genetics for you. But here's something important to understand. When hair loses its pigment, its structure changes too. The hair shaft becomes thinner, and our oil glands don't produce as much natural moisture. That's why gray hair often feels drier, coarser, and sometimes a bit wiry. It's not your imagination. But with the right care, which I'll share today, these challenges can be easily managed. Last month, my neighbor Carol finally stopped dyeing her hair after 30 years. She was terrified what people would think. But you know what happened? Her silver hair brightened her complexion, and she looks 10 years younger. Her confidence is through the roof. Society tries to tell us gray hair means old or letting yourself go. What nonsense! Look at celebrities like Jamie Lee Curtis or Helen Mirren. Their silver hair is part of their signature elegance. Healthy gray hair can be absolutely stunning. It catches the light differently. It has dimension and character that dyed hair simply can't match. Where are you in your gray hair journey? Are you just finding your first strands, or have you been embracing your silver for years? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one. Now, let's talk about how to make a smooth transition if you're currently coloring your hair. Tip number 1, how to transition gracefully. From colored hair. Let me be honest with you. Stopping hair coloring can feel like jumping off a cliff. I know because I've been there. The hardest part? That harsh line where your natural gray meets your colored hair. It can be jarring at first. When my wife decided to stop coloring her chestnut brown hair, that first inch of gray roots was quite the contrast. The key is understanding that you don't have to go cold turkey. There are gentler ways to transition. One approach that works beautifully is asking your stylist for ashy highlights and lowlights. These cooler tones blend much better with gray hair than warm colors do. Think of it as creating a bridge between your dyed hair and your natural silver. My friend Barbara used this method and it was genius. Her stylist added silver blonde highlights around her face and gradually lightened her base color over 6 months. People thought she'd just changed her style. They had no idea she was actually transitioning to gray. Another option is a pixie cut if you're feeling brave. My sister went this route, cut it all off and started fresh. She said it was incredibly liberating, though I understand it's not for everyone. Professional colorists recommend what they call gray blending. It's a technique where they add different shades of gray and silver to mimic your natural pattern. This creates a beautiful dimensional look during the awkward growing out phase. Whatever route you choose, Remember that patience is essential. Growing out colored hair completely can take 6 to 12 months, depending on your hair length. But I promise you, that moment when you're fully transitioned is worth every awkward day. Have any of you tried transitioning to gray already? What worked for you? Type transitioning in the comments if you're currently in this phase. I'd love to share more specific advice for your situation. Now, let's move on to our second tip, how to prevent and fix the yellowing that can happen with gray hair. Tip 2. Preventing and fixing yellow tones in gray hair. Ever notice how beautiful silver hair can sometimes take on a yellowish tint? There's actually a scientific reason for this. Gray and white hair has little to no pigment, which makes it more porous. Like a clean white shirt, it shows everything. Your gray hair is basically a blank canvas that can absorb colors from the environment. Chlorine from swimming pools, minerals in hard water, even air pollution. Cigarette smoke is another major culprit if you're around it. The biggest offender? The sun. Those UV rays that we've been protecting our skin from for years are also affecting our hair. They break down the hair shaft and cause oxidation, which leads to yellowing. Purple shampoo is your new best friend here. It works because purple is opposite yellow on the color wheel, so it neutralizes those unwanted tones. But here's a mistake many people make: using it too frequently. 2 times a week is plenty for most people. When you use purple shampoo, let it sit for 3 to 5 minutes before rinsing. If your yellowing is more stubborn, you can leave it up to 15 minutes, but don't overdo it, or you might end up with lavender-tinted hair. I discovered some wonderful at-home remedies too. My favorite is a rinse made with 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar mixed in a cup of water. Use it after shampooing once a week. The acidity helps close the cuticle and adds amazing shine. Another simple trick? Wear a hat. Prevention is always easier than correction. A wide-brimmed hat not only protects your hair from yellowing, but also guards your skin from sun damage. Double win. Has anyone else noticed their gray hair turning yellow? What have you tried that worked? Share your experiences below. We can all learn from each other. Let's move on to our third tip, proper moisturizing techniques for gray hair. Tip 3, properly moisturizing gray hair. If there's one thing I've learned about gray hair, it's that moisture is absolutely essential. Remember how I mentioned that gray hair produces less natural oil? This is why so many of us struggle with dryness and that wiry texture. When I first went gray, my hair felt like straw. I didn't understand why until my dermatologist explained that our oil glands become less active as we age. Without those natural oils, gray hair needs extra help staying soft and manageable. The key is finding products with the right ingredients. Look for words like hydrating, moisturizing, and nourishing on labels. Ingredients that really make a difference include argan oil, shea butter, and hyaluronic acid. Yes, the same ingredient that's amazing for your skin works wonders for hair too. Deep conditioning treatments are non-negotiable for gorgeous gray hair. I do a hair mask every Sunday evening. It's become my little self-care ritual. Apply your mask to damp hair, focusing on the ends which tend to be driest. Here's a pro tip that changed everything for me. Heat activates conditioning treatments. After applying your mask, wrap your hair in a warm towel. I microwave mine for 30 seconds, or use a shower cap and sit under a hooded dryer if you have one. The heat opens the cuticle, allowing the conditioner to penetrate deeper. Don't want to buy expensive masks? No problem. I often make my own with ingredients from my kitchen. My favorite recipe is simple. Mix 2 tablespoons of coconut oil with 1 tablespoon of honey and half a mashed avocado. This homemade treatment works just as well as the expensive stuff. My weekly hair care routine looks like this: Sunday deep conditioning, Tuesday and Friday shampoo with regular moisturizing products, and 1 purple shampoo treatment on Wednesday. The other days, I just rinse with water or use a co-wash. What about you? Do you have any moisturizing routines that work well for your gray hair? Has anyone tried overnight oil treatments? I'd love to hear what works for you. Now let's talk about protecting your beautiful silver from heat damage. Tip 4. Protecting gray hair from heat and mechanical damage. Gray hair can be more fragile than pigmented hair, which means we need to be extra careful with heat styling and even basic handling. When I first realized this, I had to completely rethink my hair routine. High heat is particularly damaging to gray hair. Those flat irons and curling wands that we've used for years, they can quickly turn healthy silver hair into a frizzy, damaged mess. But that doesn't mean you have to give up styling completely. If you use heat tools, keep the temperature below 300 degrees. That's usually the medium setting on most devices. And always, always use a heat protectant spray first. This creates a barrier between your precious strands and that direct heat. I've found that air drying whenever possible is best for maintaining healthy gray hair. When I do need to blow dry, I use the lowest heat setting and keep the dryer moving constantly. I also hold it at least 6 inches away from my hair to prevent concentrated heat damage. Even the way we brush our hair matters. Wet hair is especially vulnerable to breakage, so use a wide-tooth comb instead of a brush when your hair is damp. Start from the ends and work your way up to prevent pulling and stretching. My favorite discovery has been heatless styling methods. Remember those foam rollers our mothers used? They're making a comeback. I put them in slightly damp hair before bed and wake up with beautiful waves. Silk scrunchies and braiding techniques can also create gorgeous styles without any heat. For everyday wear, I've found that updos not only look elegant, but also protect my gray hair from environmental damage. A simple twist or chignon keeps your ends tucked away and protected. What heat styling tools do you still use with your gray hair? Has anyone found good heatless styling techniques they'd like to share? Drop your tips in the comments. Let's move on to our final tip, nourishing your gray hair from the inside out. Tip 5. Nutrition and health from within. We've talked about caring for gray hair from the outside, but what you put into your body is just as important as what you put onto your hair. I noticed a dramatic difference in my hair's health when I changed my diet and lifestyle. Your hair is made of protein, keratin, so getting enough protein in your diet is crucial. Lean meats, fish, eggs, and plant proteins like beans and nuts all contribute to stronger, healthier hair. Certain vitamins and minerals play star roles in hair health. Vitamin B12 is essential. Many of us over 50 become deficient as our bodies absorb less of it. Vitamin D, iron, zinc, and copper are also key players. I take a good multivitamin, but food sources are even better when possible. Antioxidant-rich foods fight the free radicals that can damage hair follicles. Blueberries, spinach, and dark chocolate, yes, chocolate, are all excellent choices. I've made it a habit to include colorful fruits and vegetables at every meal. Water is perhaps the simplest yet most overlooked hair health booster. I aim for 8 glasses daily, and I can tell the difference in my hair shine and elasticity when I'm well hydrated versus when I'm not. Stress management might seem unrelated to hair, but chronic stress can affect hair growth and even accelerate graying. I've found that 20 minutes of daily meditation or gentle yoga helps keep my stress levels in check. Good sleep is another critical factor. Our bodies repair and regenerate during sleep, including our hair follicles. I prioritize 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep each night, and my hair, and the rest of me, is much better for it. Have you noticed changes in your hair when you've adjusted your diet or lifestyle? Maybe after taking certain supplements or increasing your water intake. I'd love to hear about your experiences. Remember, beautiful gray hair isn't just about what products you use. It's about nurturing your whole self. We've covered a lot today, from transitioning strategies to nutrition for healthy gray hair. The bottom line is this: gray hair isn't something to hide or fight against. It's something to embrace and care for properly. Each silver strand represents wisdom earned and life fully lived. With the right care, your natural gray can be more beautiful, more distinctive, and more you than any color from a bottle. Try these 5 tips and see which ones make the biggest difference for your hair. Everyone's journey with gray hair is unique, just like the beautiful silver patterns we each develop. I hope you'll love your gray hair as much as I've come to love mine. It truly is a crown of glory that tells the story of who you are and all you've experienced. Before you go, leave a comment sharing your biggest gray hair victory or challenge. And if you found this helpful, please like and subscribe. I have more videos planned on beauty and confidence as we age gracefully together. Until next time, wear your silver with pride. It's not just hair, it's your legacy.